Hello and welcome back to my channel. I welcome you with gratitude and love, and thank you for being here. So in this video, I would like to talk about conscious relationships. I've talked about transparency in relationships and conscious sexuality in a couple of my other videos, but today I want to kind of keep going on that theme and share my views on conscious relationships and what that's all about to me. So to begin with, it's my vision for the future of the collective of humanity that we will all end up being conscious individuals in conscious relationships. We'll have a conscious relationship with ourselves, with God, and with all other creatures and people, and even the planet itself. So, but for the sake of time constraints, I'll just talk about conscious relationships. In particular, conscious romantic relationships like marriages or, romantic partners in union. So, just very quickly, when a person is, in my view, conscious or awake, let's say, they're continually, and constantly looking within as well as without, but they're looking within more than outside themselves. So they're much more conscious of who they are and why they are like they are, their past, why they say certain things or have certain habits, or even the darkest parts of them, they're willing to go there and look at it and analyze it and then alchemize it. And when I say alchemize it, that means transform it into something else. Turn it into gold, metaphorically. So they're looking at, say, their worst traits, their worst flaws, let's say, or weaknesses. And they'll even talk with their partner about it openly in a conscious relationship. So they're really honest with themselves. They're brutally honest, to the point of, they'll lay it all out there and say, like, look at how awful this is. Isn't this awful that I've done this or thought that or talked to somebody this way? So it's a willingness, though, is my point, that you're willing to do that, and you have a habit of doing that on a regular basis. And you're just very conscious of, it's always a continual process, so I'm not saying it's a finished product where you're perfectly conscious all the time, but let's say you're approaching that, or you're on your path to getting to that state. And so by being much more conscious than when you were not awake, let's say, and just kind of living your life unconsciously, things were happening to you instead of through you. So now that you're conscious of who you are and why you are and why you do what you do, so now that you're willing, and that's a key thing right there, willing to do it, to do the work on yourself and transform yourself into, say, a higher version of yourself, so to speak. So let's say there's this archetype finished product of you this, or even like a, let's say, a higher dimensional version of you waiting somewhere. It's already there. You're already there. But you want to bring more of that person into the person that you are right now. So by being more and more conscious of yourself and knowing yourself better, you bring that to the table in your relationship. And your partner does the same. So you're on equal terms that way. You're both doing the work. You're both doing a lot of inner reflection, and you're completely transparent about everything. There's nothing to hide here. There's no shame. You just lay out all your deepest, dirtiest secrets, everything. And so by doing that, there is a very extremely high level of trust that comes from that. And, of course, you have to have acceptance and non-judgment of your partner when they're being so vulnerable. So you have to very much honor them and respect them for having that, for allowing you to see all of that, because it's coming from very deep within them in a lot of cases. But this is happening, like I said, over and over again, on a regular basis, or randomly, spontaneously, whatever. But for me, this is my vision of the future, that everyone will get to this level of being and having very, very, very open and transparent and free, loving, conscious relationships. And when I say open relationships, it's not necessarily what you think I mean. Well, it could be. Like people talk about polyamory and those kind of ideas. But that's not what I mean. I mean, by open relationships, or this openness in the relationship, you're always open and willing to talk about everything and anything, and let your needs be known, your desires, everything be known to your partner. And you're just being completely honest with yourself and with them all the time. So there's no games, there's no hiding, there's no affairs, nothing is by just nothing is done in I'm trying to think of the right word, a secretive, scheming kind of, there's a better word for it that I'm trying to think of, deceptive, there we go. There's no deception involved in conscious relationships. So it's basically what you see is what you're getting all the time. Now, doesn't that sound like a much better way to go about relationships? And then, you might say to me, well, Greg, if I tell my partner or my future partner exactly what I want, my desires and everything, kind of life I want to live, they might not want to be with me anymore. And to that I say, well, that may happen, or it may not. Now, if it does happen, then they're not the right partner for you. They're not the right person. They're not the kind of person that you want to be in a conscious relationship with, because you'll know it when you'll feel it, and you'll know pretty quickly when you meet somebody that they're willing, they're conscious and awake like you are, and they're willing to have that kind of a relationship. So chances are, if you are blessed enough to meet someone like that, that they will be very non-judgmental and accepting of your sharing and, dirtiest secrets and all that kind of thing, but you still have to have a certain degree of compatibility to make any relationship work. So if you tell them, I don't know, you want to travel the world and they just want to be a homebody and, they've got things anchoring them down, then that might be a deal breaker. But at least you know up front right away. And you don't carry things on, and then what happens, people get resentful and hold grudges against their partner, and then they have a messy breakup with anger, and it just isn't good. So you get all that up front right away, and you know exactly what you're getting into and how compatible you are. And then you see, oh yeah, well, we have this in common and that in common, and it's enough. So maybe you both want to travel the world. Great, or you're both homebodies and you just want to stay at home and read books together or whatever. But anyways, that's really quickly kind of, I could get into a lot more, but that's simply put what a conscious relationship is to me. And also, I feel very strongly is the future of relationships on this planet. Everybody will be having them. Like I said, deceptive, dishonest, scheming kind of, and problem-ridden relationships of the past will be no more. They will be a thing of the past. And that is my hope and vision of the future. So I thank you very much again for listening, and God bless.